What's going on, ladies, gents, and kids of all ages? It is Eric coming back at you once again from the NerdCave, and we are fast approaching the holidays. For me, it is Christmas. Christmas is one of the few holidays we can really celebrate with Lorcana cards because we have Emerald and Ruby. So today and Monday leading up to the holiday, we're going to be exclusively talking about Ruby Emerald on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about the 12 best Christmas cards, the best 12 cards in Disney Lorcana right now, in my opinion, in the colors of Emerald and Ruby. If you're a new player, these might be good cards to focus on picking up, especially some of the first chapter cards that are kind of inexpensive due to the restock at Target over Black Friday. As always, big shout out to the Patreons for making the giveaways on the channel possible. We're going to have more Patreon exclusive giveaways coming very soon, and at 3,000 subscribers we're going to be looking at doing another booster box giveaway, and we may do something special at 2,500 subscribers depending on when we get there. That being said, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the top 12 Ruby Emerald cards in Lorcana. So in the number 12 spot, we have Anna, Diplomatic Queen, a 3-cost inkable 2/3 questing for 2 with a kind of plethora of abilities. When you play this character, you may pay kind of kicker cost an additional 2 ink to do one of the following, and you get to choose. Each opponent chooses and discards a card. Chosen character gets +2 strength this turn, or banish chosen damage character. Haven't really seen this get used a whole lot for the +2 strength, but those other two are going to be incredibly relevant, particularly being able to banish a damage character. It allows you to ping a character for 1 and then just straight up banish it with Anna. It is in the number 12 spot because it just isn't something that's seeing a ton of play. It's seeing play in most Emerald decks, but generally at like a 1, maybe 2-0. Next up, another Emerald card in the 11th place slot. It is going to be the Muses, something we are seeing a larger quantity of in the decks that's getting played in, but maybe not in every single Emerald list. If you're playing anything Emerald with a decent number of songs, Muses is going to be very good. She's a 4-cost uninkable 2/4 stat line, questing for 1 with Ward, which has proven to be incredibly good in the meta right now. Ward is very difficult for people to deal with. A lot of steel decks, they have a hard time with Ward. And whenever you play a song, you may return chosen character with 2 strength or less to their player's hand. This card definitely got better with the introduction of things like Heffalumps and Woozles in the new set. In the number 10 slot, we are looking at Go-Go Tamago, a new addition from set 6. He has been seeing a ton of play across multiple Emerald decks, and I love to see a big Hero 6 character getting in the mix in the meta, but he is a 2-cost inkable 2/2, which generally isn't going to be very good. What makes him very good is his abilities. He is questing for 1, which he is evasive, which we know evasive is very good, allows him to trade with things like Diablo. When you play this character, you may pay 2 additional ink to gain lore equal to the damage on chosen opposing characters. So you can go ahead and bang onto an opposing character, really good with something like Hook. If they have like Daisy, for instance, can put 3 damage on Daisy, and then all of a sudden you play this and you're gaining 3 lore right away. But Go-Go's seeing a lot more play in the meta. Next up at number 9, we're going to be talking about our first Ruby card, and that is going to be Sisu, Emboldened Warrior, a 3-cost inkable 1/4 stat line, questing for 2. Still one of the best cards in the game, in my opinion, not just in Ruby. And her ability is what makes her so great. This character gets +1 strength for each card in your opponent's hand, so she may be 1/4 static, questing for 2, but if your opponent has even 2 or 3 cards in their hand, she is a much more significant threat, particularly coming down for 3 and being inkable. Coming in at number 8, we do have a card that's been seeing a lot more play in the meta, in my opinion, across multiple Emerald decks. A card that I'm seeing get a lot more popular right now, and that is going to be Bonsai Gluttonous Predator. Things are very low to the ground right now in Lorcana. A lot of decks are very fast, which makes him a little bit more effective as a counterbalance to that speedy meta, particularly with something like Emerald, which isn't always gaining a ton of lore very quickly, but he is a 2-cost uninkable 3/2 stat line, questing for 2, so he's aggressive lore threat and an aggressive threat to the board. At number 7, we're talking about another set 6 card in Maui Half Shark, a 6-cost inkable 7/5 stat line, so fantastic stat line on this card, particularly coming down for 6, and he's evasive. What? We look at cards like Mickey from the first set that was legendary, had evasive, cost like $1 million to put down, wasn't very relevant. This kind of stat line on a 6-cost evasive is crazy. Questing for 1, and whenever this character challenges another character, you may return an action card from your discard to your hand. No limit on the ink cost, because you can return things like Be Prepared. It is worth noting giving him a rush can make him a lot more effective, and whenever you play an action, you gain 1 lore. So just a ton of crazy abilities all on one card. Coming in at number 6, we are looking at another Emerald card, jumping back over to Emerald to look at Diablo, a 3-cost uninkable 2/2 stat line, questing for 1. Even kind of falling out of favor in the current meta with a lot of steel troubling the board. He is still very good, and he is still maintaining a price that reflects that up in the $20 range. But he's a 3-cost, uninkable, 2/2 stat line, questing for 1. Shift him by discarding an action card, so a little bit of a weird shift, but allows him to shift down very early in the game. And during each opponent's turn, whenever they draw a card while this character is exerted, you may draw a card as well, which can just get absolutely nutty, particularly into those Amethyst matchups, or into something like Steel Song, where they're going to Whole New World you and you could potentially draw 14. Kind of nuts. Diablo is still very good, even with a lot of removal in the meta. And more evasive threats. I think that's mainly what's brought his price down. Coming in at number 5, you know it, you love it. We are talking about Be Prepared, a 7-cost uninkable action song, The Wrath of God of Disney Lorcana. Banish all characters on the board. Just going to be an absolute board wipe. Only one in the game right now. Still a fantastic card. Still a card I think is well worth investing in, particularly now. I think they're down to like maybe $8, $7 or $8 with the restock. So if you don't have Be Prepared, if you're a new player, now is a great time to go ahead and stock up on those Be Prepareds. Coming in at number 4, we are talking about Lyle Tiberius Rourke. The reason I put this at number 4 over something like Be Prepared is because it is going to be relevant across more Emerald decks than Be Prepared is across Ruby decks, in my opinion. It is good in every single Emerald deck, whereas Be Prepared in some Ruby decks isn't necessarily something that's getting played. But Lyle isn't getting played in all Emerald decks either, so it was kind of a toss-up. You know, tell me if you would have switched him around or if you would have put Lyle much lower on the list. Love to hear your thoughts. He is a 3-cost, uninkable, 2/4 stat line, questing for 1. When you play this character, you can give a chosen opposing character Reckless, which has proven to be very effective, especially into those fast questing decks in the meta right now. Being able to give those cards Reckless and forcing them to maybe even take an unfavorable challenge in is fantastic. And whenever one of your other characters is banished, each opponent loses 1 lore. So keep in mind, and this is worth jumping back to Be Prepared, with something like Be Prepared, that it is going to trigger for every other character. So if you have 4 characters out and a Lyle, your opponent is going to lose 4 lore, even though Lyle's binning at the same time. Jumping over to the number 3 slot, this is something we see across almost every single Emerald deck in the meta right now, and that is going to be Ursula Deceiver, a 2-cost, inkable, 1/3 stat line, questing for 1, and it's her ability that makes her so great. When you play this character, chosen opponent reveals their hand and discards a song card of your choice, so you're able to do targeted removal with it early in the game, and then she's a singer going into turn 3. Being played in pretty much every Emerald deck at least a 3 of, so I think that's why she is one of the best Emerald cards in the game right now. I just realized our last 2 cards are Ruby, so she's, in my list, the best Emerald card in the game right now. Well worth investing in. Next up, in second place, I'm sure you're curious, we are talking about Brawl, something that's getting played in pretty much every Ruby deck list right now. It is the main answer to things like Genie Wish Fulfilled. It's the answer to Diablo. It's the answer to those big Elsas, Ariels. It is the answer to so many things in the meta right now that it's seeing inclusion at a 3 or 4 of in almost every single Ruby deck, and I think that makes it the second best card in Emerald or Ruby right now in the game. It is a 3-cost, inkable, action, banish chosen character with 2 strength or less. Just straight up getting rid of them. Fantastic. Brawl, as much as I hate to say it, as much as it's a card some people hate to play tempo wise, is still very good. And last up at number 1, if you've watched my videos before, this should be no surprise to you, is going to be Maui, Hero to All. Easily the best card in Lorcana right now, an inclusion in almost every single Ruby deck list, unless they have alternative rushers like something like Pirates. That's the one deck list that doesn't play him. He is generally seeing a 3 or 4. We are seeing Ruby Sapphire move away from him in some instances to play Vitalosphere and the new Maui Shark, but this Maui is still absolutely phenomenal. Ruby Amethyst, couldn't live without it. As a 5-cost, inkable, 6/5 stat line, rush and reckless, so it's coming down and just blasting out any real relevant threat on the board, other than maybe something like Tamatoa, still making Maui one of the best cards in the game and one of the best enchanted arts in the game, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. Maui, Hero to All, best Ruby card in Disney Lorcana right now. So that is my top 12 breakdown. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Are there different cards from Emerald or Ruby that you would have put on this list? Are there things that I did put on the list that you would have put in a different position or not included at all? Love to hear your feedback. Always, if you have your own version of a top 12 Ruby Emerald list, drop it in the comments below. Hit me with those bulleted numbered lists. Love to see other people's opinions on what is the best right now. Ultimately, the goal of this video is to help new players learn what Emerald or Ruby cards they may want want to invest in so that they're not wasting their money on cards that aren't going to be as effective for them. So if you have cards that you think are a good suggestion for those new players, definitely help them out in the comments below. But thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end. Drop a like if you're feeling it, and drop a subscribe if you haven't already. We're on the road to 3,000 subs and another big giveaway. With all that in mind, when you see those toys, video games, and Maui Hero to All Enchanteds off in the distance, remember, it is not a mirage. You guys have a happy holiday.